Tonight's live stream telecast is being produced by Johnny Nomad Media and Daytona Beach Live Stream Solutions. Evening as we begin our presentations. Leading off the night, please welcome to the Elevate stage, Ryan Lilly.
Well, welcome to Elevate Daytona. And before we begin, just on the behalf of all the speakers this evening, I want to again thank all of our organizers and sponsors for making this evening work, even during COVID. If we could have one more round of applause for them. Well, my name is Ryan Lilly. I'm from next door in Ocala, Florida. And this evening, I want to tell you about how I found my creativity in a place called Pappyland. Not just once, but twice in my life. And how if you really listen this evening, I think you'll find some creativity there as well. Let's go ahead and start the slides. When I was a kid, my parents had a big boxy television like this that sat on the floor of our living room. It would swivel back and forth. Does anybody remember when TVs used to look like this? One of my favorite things to do as a kid was to sit in front of that television in my big beanbag chair, a Capri Sun in one hand, a Lunchable in the other. And if you were a kid in the early 90s, this was rad, guys. I love to watch shows on PBS like Barney, Mr. Rogers, Sesame Street, Wishbone. Does anybody remember those? But my favorite show was one most of you probably don't remember. It was called Pappyland. It was about this character named Pappy Druitt who taught kids how to draw. Pappy would draw stuff on TV, and then kids like me would follow along with him at home. Now, Pappy was a little bit like a combination of Bob Ross and Mr. Rogers. He had the ability to do art and make it look insanely easy, like Bob Ross, but he also had this way with entertaining kids. He had puppets on his show, and he made learning really fun. Well, fast forward about 25 years, and I'm working over in Ocala at a building that we call a business incubator, where we help entrepreneurs and startups get their ideas off the ground. I love working with entrepreneurs and creatives, but I had this secret that I'd kept from all of them in the 10 years or so that I'd been doing this work. And it was this, that in the process of helping them with their creative ideas, I didn't really spend much time developing my own. I'd been so busy focused on their startups that I didn't really do much of my own. And I desperately wanted that sense of creativity back I had as a kid watching Pappyland. Well, the universe works in mysterious ways. And one day I get a phone call from a friend named Jordan who says, "Hey Ryan, I've been playing ping pong down the street from you with this guy named Michael Criglio. He used to play Pappy Druitt on television, and he's retired now to Ocala." I met with Pappy for lunch, and thankfully he didn't come dressed in character like this, or the 90s kid inside of me would have just crapped myself. But I learned that Pappy was working on a new television show to bring art education to a new generation of kids, and he needed a studio to do it in. Well, at our incubator, just down the hall from my office, we had a place just big enough for him to do that. But in the process of being there now for the last 2 years, Pappy has retaught me some things about creativity that I want to share with all of you. The first of which is that creativity is not about perfection. As a kid and now as an adult, I have some OCD. And it always bothered me watching Pappy's show that I couldn't draw a perfect circle or a straight line as well as he could. But Pappy ends his new show by telling kids at the very end, remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being the best that you can be. On his shows, sometimes Pappy will color outside the lines or break a crayon. He does this on purpose, but makes it look like an accident to teach kids it's okay to mess up as long as you just keep trying. Pappy also has taught me that sometimes creativity comes out of pain and brokenness in our lives. Pappy's been able to reconnect with a whole bunch of his fans through social media who are now my age. And one young lady said that she used to escape to her room as a kid to watch Pappyland and draw in order to get away from her physically abusive parents. And she's now an artist today. Pappy himself has been able to create so many things in his life, from television to art, despite having some experiences in Vietnam and seeing some things that really no one should ever have to see. So don't be afraid to use your pain to create something new. Pappy's also taught me that creativity has nothing to do at all with age. Now in my 30s, I started to feel like the chance to be creative had kind of passed me by. A lot of the entrepreneurs that I work with are in their 20s. But Pappy, who's now in his 70s, is the most creative person that I know. Most people don't realize that Colonel Sanders, who started Kentucky Fried Chicken, was 67 years old when he started developing his restaurant chain. Age and creativity have nothing to do with one another, and you can start right now, regardless of what stage of life that you're in. Pappy's also taught me that creativity is about fun. I had become so serious about work and life in general. One day I was just absorbed, head down at my desk, and I hear someone go running by my office. It's Pappy chasing after a remote-controlled toy tank. Pappy's really a kid at heart. His favorite thing to do is to play ping pong with all the people in our building. I think that being in touch with that inner child is really where we can rediscover our own creativity. Now, Pappy has also taught me that creativity is really about passion. It's about a love for what you're creating, but more importantly, who you're creating for. This is a picture of Pappy and my daughter coloring with chalk on the sidewalk. Pappy's love for art and sharing it affects everybody around him. And even people who watch the show, like myself, when they were kids, have gotten tattoos of Pappyland on their head, on their arm. There's even a My Little Pony character that was made after Pappy drew it. Well, that's a little bit about how I found my creativity in Pappyland. Not just once, but twice in my life. And I hope that this evening you all have found some creativity in Pappyland as well. I'm so honored and grateful that Michael Criglio, or Pappy Druitt, is in the audience this evening with his son Michael. And I'm so grateful that you all are here this evening. Thank you all so much.